Data-driven.
Hi, this is Data-Driven Insights, and today I want to talk about Formula One. In one of my previous videos, I have talked about research that we have done on leadership in Formula One, but today I want to concentrate on some new research we have done around how large data sets, or so-called big data, is used in Formula One and what difference it makes in the sport. So if we look at the history of Formula One, we can actually display it, overlay it with the history of digital technology. So if you look at this graph at the bottom, you can see the history of big data, so the history of internet, so how internet developed and how we started to get more and more data. And at the top, you can see it overlaid with the history of Formula One in terms of Formula One using data. So as you can see, up until mid-1970s, it was a stage where driver was a sensor, so driver as a sensor stage. During that period of time, so that was basically from 1950s to about mid-1970s, and during that period of time, essentially driver was observing different parts of the car and was reporting back to the engineering team and strategy team. And essentially, this was the main data input for the team to be able to kind of work on different parts of the car. So from mid-1970s, we had a telemetry revolution where sensors were introduced, and essentially you had more and more data being collected by various sensors on the car. Current Formula One cars have hundreds of sensors, and they all collect a lot of data. But you probably know the saying that all theories are wrong, but some are useful, right? And recently we learned from various examples that all data are wrong, but some are useful. So in Formula One, we have a perfect example of this. If we take Gartner cycle of technology, we will observe that currently we are already at the plateau of the usage of data in Formula One, in the sense that many teams experience data overload. So the data that they collect actually does not add anything to the strategic understanding of what should be improved in the car. The majority of Formula One teams use the Atlas system that is developed by the McLaren team. And essentially, if we compare the recent performance of McLaren cars as well as teams that use the same technology with teams that do not use Atlas technology, for example, Ferrari, we can see that while Ferrari and, for example, Mercedes collect a lot less data than McLaren and other teams that use Atlas technology, Mercedes and Ferrari look a lot better compared to McLaren. And this is not because they consider more data points. It's because they innovate more efficiently on the analytics side. Essentially, what these teams do, they only take inputs that matter for the performance. And they really observe improvement in the performance because the data points that they look at are not necessarily multiple or each, but they make a difference for improvement of the performance of the car at each Grand Prix stage. So what this example tells you essentially is that more data is not necessarily better for you. What is better for you is thinking through how you're going to use this data and how you are going to leverage on important variables and data points in order to improve the performance of yourself, your business, or your sports team.